Rock the Yahweh, Rock the Yahweh Shai, Rock the Yahweh, Rock the Yahweh Shai, Rock the Yahweh, Rock the Yahweh Shai. Call Halal Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakal Kadash. Peace to the hopeful elect of Israel. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, the elders and brethren who are all around the earth teaching the truth. I'm not a part of GMS, but I believe in the likewise doctrine. I woke up to these men who preach the truth. Okay, so I just want to give them their due honors. I figured today I'd bring a lesson. I wanted to go outside actually, but it's so windy and cold out. I didn't want the audio to get messed up. So I'm just going to jump right into it. As usual, I prepared a good number of scriptures. Slack it, the camera's falling. Good number of scriptures. May not get to all of them because once again, I don't want the video to be that long. But there's some things that's going on, particularly. I'll just speak from my own personal experience. I don't know what I'm going to title this yet. It may be something to the effect that this truth is not popular, or I may even entitle it "A Little Leaven, Leaveneth the Whole Loaf." I'm not sure yet, but this past week or so, it's been kind of difficult for me. As you know, once you get in this truth, there are a lot of people that may not receive it. Once you give it to them, once you start telling them the truth, in particular family members, okay? Typically when we start out in this, we always, just like when we were in the Christian church, you know, you want to evangelize the people closest to you, which is typically your friends and your family. Well, for my case, this past week, you know, I got into it with someone real close to me about the truth, who is just a staunch Christian, if you will, been a Christian all her life, you know, and, you know, just for what it is, you know, me and my mother are not seeing eye to eye now. But that's par for the course when you come into this truth, and you have to, you hear the brothers teach on counting the cost of everything. Are you willing to lose the people closest to you for the kingdom, you know, for Yahweh Shai, you know, and he gave examples of that and teachings of that in the scriptures. So me and my mom at this particular point, just from a personal standpoint, are not seeing eye to eye right now. So I've been dealing with that all week and getting certain phone calls from other family members, and all that kind of deal is what's going on with me, okay? And I'm just bringing it in a lesson because some of us have already experienced this, or some of you will experience it. Salaki, I don't know why this thing keeps falling down. I'm sorry. Just bear with me. I got to deal with this camera. Dealing with that, you know, it kind of brings up some bad feelings, you know, and the feelings can be on both sides. You know, you still love your loved ones, regardless to whether they can receive the truth or not. And then we also have to bear in mind that the truth is not for everybody. It's a small group of people who are going to receive the truth and whom the Lord is actually dealing with. So not to prolong that, I'll go into the scriptures that I've been meditating on probably about 4 days, because I didn't actually know if I wanted to bring this particular lesson. But experience is a good teacher, you know. When you have people who have certain experience, you know, especially if you're a teacher, and even before I got into truth, I've taught on different levels with, you know, on the job and in school as well. So and everybody in some capacity, you could say you're a teacher, even if you have, you know, your own family and your own children, you have to teach them as well. So I think we all have a little bit of teacher in us. So let me get to a few things here that some topics I want to kind of cover, and maybe this lesson here will be edifying to someone. It'll give you a real person with a real experience, you know, dealing with either parents, a brother, sister, a wife, or whatever the case may be, husband, whatever the case may be. So with that, I think I got some scriptures prepared, and the first thing I want to look at. Well, let me go ahead and read my favorite scripture here, which is Isaiah 28 verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Okay, I generally, if you've watched any of my videos, I like to start out with that. Because we learn through the Lord's precepts. Even King David said that, and you can find that in the book of Psalms as well. He said it several times. So I'm going to try to move swiftly and get through this and not belabor it. So what are we talking about? We're talking about losing family. We're talking about losing friends when you come into the truth. Okay, you're excited about it and you want people to know about the truth and to try to get close to the Lord. You did that even when you were in Christianity. Okay. So let's look at what the Lord said. Let's look at what Yahushua said. Let's go to Luke 14 and I'm just going to cherry pick some of these scriptures here, and then as always you go back and read the whole chapter, okay, and it'll put it into perspective for you. Okay, let's jump down to verse 28. So this is Luke 14 verse 28. For which of you intend to build a tower, sitteth not down first and count the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Least haply, after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Okay, so when we come into the truth, we have to rebuild our foundation. And once you've done that and you've increased, the Lord has increased you in the wisdom and knowledge of the truth, you like to spread it. You like to share it with those that you love. Okay. And likewise, they have to do the same thing. They have to restructure things. I'm a foundation kind of guy. We have a great number of brothers who are out there. And in particular, I'll just speak for myself. Preference wise, I only listen to the men of GMS. That's my keeping my one eye single. That's for me. Okay. I can't tell anybody else what to do. I'll suggest that you don't go camp hopping. Okay. Listening to this one, listening to that one. That's only going to confuse you. Because these other camps, as far as I'm concerned, they don't have the truth. Okay. That's me. Okay. Now I'm going to get off of that and just say that the foundation part is what I teach mostly. The beginning stages for those of us who are just waking up, and I include myself in that because I'm less than 5 years. I'm less than 3 years in it. Okay, but of course, there were things in Christianity when you were in Christianity. You looked at it. At least I did, and I could see certain things that were wrong. And that's pretty much how I got into this situation with these family members, is because I see something totally different than what you see. Okay. So getting back to the point, we have to count the cost. Are we willing to lose everything, for the truth? That's part of the territory, man. That comes with it. So you have to be prepared for that. Okay. So let's now go over to Matthew 19, I think. Yeah, Matthew 19. Salakia, I don't have this marked. I'm just going to thumb my way through it. I don't want to ramble on. I just want to get to the point. I had a very hard week this week dealing with all this kind of stuff, and not to mention these crazy people on these jobs. Man, I'll be glad when this shit is over with and we can get the hell out of here, really. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's how I feel. Okay, let's go over to Matthew 19 and look at 19 through, let's see, 23 through 30. Okay, um, Matthew 19:23. And said Yahushua unto his disciples, verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easy for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of the Most High, where it says God. I'll just read it verbatim. I'll keep it simple. Um, 25. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, who then can be saved? And Yahushua beheld them and said unto them, what man, Salakia, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and have followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said to them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or fathers, or mothers, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive an hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So there's a consequence that's tied to this, okay? And you have to be ready to lose that if it comes down to it. And really, more than likely, from what I've seen and what I know of other people and their experiences, that they have lost that, okay? They have lost relationships with their close family members or close friends, okay? So that's part of the cost, man. We have to suck it up and take it and keep rolling, okay? So let me see. What else do I have here? Let's look at a parable that the Savior gave us in Mark. Mark 4 is what I have down here, and it talks about the sower and the seed, the word, and so forth. Many of you already know the scripture, okay? But I think in particular I have the point in Mark 4 and, Mark 4 and 11. And like I said, I'm not going to read the whole chapter to the scriptures that I do have, but just so that it gets to the point, hopefully, like I said, this will give some clarity to some folks that edify you if you watch this video. Okay, let's go down to well, let me look at I'll jump in at start at verse 1. And he began again to teach by the seaside, and there were gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship and sat in the sea, and with the whole multitude was by the sea on the land. Verse 2, and he taught them many things by parables, and said unto them in his doctrine, hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowl of the air came and devoured it up. And some fell on the stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And other fell on good ground, and did yield fruit, and sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, some 60, and some 100-fold. And he said unto them, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked him the parable. And he said unto them, unto you, and this is the point, unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of the Most High, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parable, that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest at any time they should be converted and their sins should be forgiven them. Okay? Which goes back to my point of when you're talking to family members or friends and you're trying to get them to see the truth of the scriptures, the name of the Father, Yahweh, the name of the Son, Yahweh Shai, that you had your own language, that you had your own land, okay, that you're still in captivity, that the Lord has to come back and redeem us and put us back in our land. All of these things that we already know, and you try to share that with them, it's just not for everybody, okay? So that's the point I think I wanted to get out of that, is a small number of us whom the Lord and through his grace and mercy has given us the spirit of the wisdom and knowledge and understanding, and has put men here in place to teach it to you. Okay, you can't get away from that fact. Nobody knows anything unless a man teaches them. Okay, how can they hear the word unless a preacher be sent? Okay, paraphrasing. So I'll go on, verse 13. And he said unto them, know ye not this parable? And how then will ye know all parables? The sower soweth the word. And these are they by the wayside where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. Okay? And these are they which are sown among the thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things enter in and choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, which as hear the word and receive it, and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. And he said unto them, is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed, and not to be set on a candlestick? For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And he said unto him, take heed what ye hear. With what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you, and unto you that hear shall more be given. Okay? I'll go on. For he that hath, to him shall be given, and he that hath not, from him shall be taken even that which he hath. And he said, so is the kingdom of the Most High, as if a man should cast seed into the ground, and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow up, he knoweth not how. For the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, and after the full corn in the ear. But when the fruit is brought forth, immediately he putteth the sickle, because the harvest is come. And he said, whereunto shall we liken the kingdom of the Most High? Or with what comparison shall we compare it? Okay, I think that's all I wanted to get out of that. And so, this word is not for everybody. For some, they'll receive it, and for some, they'll hear it and say, okay, great. And then they go about the cares of the world. And they go about caring about whether they're going to get their, when they retire, how much money they're going to have in their 401k. I listen to these freaking Edomites at work all the time talking about, yeah, when I retire, I'm gonna be getting this much and that much, and I'm gonna be this and that. Man, the Lord can come through here and wipe all that shit out. You won't have a damn thing, but they so high-minded in themselves and so proud, of what they think they have. And I'll be so glad when the Lord come through here and tear this place apart, And you even got some jakes who follow that same thought process and talk about, well, I'm going to get this X much for this, and I'm going to get this, and then Social Security, They go down the whole checklist about what they think they're going to be resting on when retirement comes. I'm like, hey, you ain't got no guarantee you're going to live to even see that. That's number one, okay? If the Lord wants you to take your ass right off the earth right now, just like that, boom, and you won't see nothing. I've known guys, I've worked with guys who worked 35 years, 40 years, and didn't even make it to retirement. They're getting ready to retire, and the Lord just got rid of them for whatever his reason is, okay? Not to sound harsh about it, but for whatever his reason is. Or I've seen guys who did retire, make it to retirement, but only live 4 or 5 months or less than a year, or maybe a year and a half, before something happened to them and the Lord removed them. So they didn't get to enjoy anything. You see? So don't get, so prideful over things that you think you're going to have something in the latter end. You don't know what the Lord is going to do, So it's best not to even put your cares on this world or think about what you're going to have in your 401k and how many stocks you got and this, that, and the third. You don't need, listen, man, those of us who are in the truth, we don't give a shit about this world. We don't care what they do, okay? We don't care about that. We're trying to get ourselves sealed and help and do our job to seal the rest of the elect so we can get the hell out of here. I'm not trying to stay. I don't want to be here. You see? I don't want to be here. So, I mean, with that, let me move on because, I get kind of worked up over that kind of thing. So let's get back to what I was talking about, all right? So one of the other things that comes with that, in talking to loved ones and in talking to friends, in which I had this conversation a week or so ago with my mother, and we got into discussing the law. Now, I'm not going to read all these scriptures. I'm just going to tell you what the scriptures are. If you see this lesson, you go ahead and go back and read them. And I told her, hey, the law is still in play. I know what we learned in Christianity. I'm coming out of a Pentecostal sanctified apostolic faith-based church, okay? People call them holy rollers or whatever you want. So I understand all of this, and you know what I mean. What we were taught, you see. But see, that's where things the Lord was working with me back then, because I could read the scriptures and see that there was something different, than what I was hearing. So anyway, you have to tell them, that no, the law is still in play. And so here's a few scriptures to go back and read. And these are the scriptures that I quoted. And not only, I read them chapter and verse to 2 family members. Chapter and verse, okay? To make it simple, To make it simple, Matthew 5, 17 through 19. Romans 9, all of it. All of Romans 9. But in particular, verse 4, okay? Romans 13, 2 through 10. 1 Corinthians 15 through 56. Okay, verse 56. 1 John 3 and 4, we know that one. Revelation 22 and 14, among others that tell you that the law is still in play. Okay, the Lord changes not. Okay, so those are some of the scriptures that I quoted. And it offended them, just like we read in Mark. They got offended by it. Okay, and now I'm a devil. They don't know what's wrong with me. You see what I mean? So, brothers and sisters, you're going to have to count the cost. You're going to have to keep that in mind as to, the folks that you're gonna tell the truth to. Okay? So, those are some of the things, some of the scriptures that I gave to them as just points of interest for them to go and look at it. Okay? I'm not making this up. This has always been there. Okay? And then lastly, since we're running on 24 minutes, let's look at, the fact that we have close relatives and friends who, and I'll just use my own experience, who leave the church, who say, you know what, I've had enough of this. These pastors, they're not teaching right. They in the church, they're telling us the wrong things. They're more worried about money. They're more worried about buying shopping centers and trying to, they turn it into a business, right? They no longer watch the televangelists. You know, all they talking about is send money, send a seed, and Lord will bless you, blah, 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 right? So they get disgruntled with all of that. But then they still hold on to the philosophies and the doctrines in which they learn. You may not be going to that building anymore, and you may not even be listening to the televangelist anymore. But if you're still holding on to the philosophies, then what good have you done? What have you done? Okay, if you're still going to hold on to those philosophies. So, lastly, what I want to do, I'm looking at the clock. What I want to do is, what did Yahushua say about the philosophies of the people that we learned from? Okay, let's look at, let's go to, what do I have here? Matthew 16. Let's go to Matthew 16. I'm trying to run through this quickly because I know I'm going a little bit too long, longer than I wanted to. I wish I could have gone outside, but like I said, you know, it's so windy. I didn't want it to distort what I had to say because, you know, this you know, I had a problem with this week. You know, I was really tussling with this. You know, and I have not talked to these family members in over a week, in which we usually call each other. But now I've been blocked from their phone and all that stuff. So, you know, we count the cost. Okay. Let's go to Matthew 16 and let's look at 6. And I want to go to 6 from 6 to 12, okay? Matthew 16, 6. Then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned, they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread. Which Yahushua perceived and said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Do ye yet not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Neither the 7 loaves, the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Okay? So you have to, once you leave the church and say, well, these people not doing right, and you stop watching who's them big devils on TV? TD Jakes, Creflo Steal a Dollar. What's that freaking? Y'all know the run of the mill jokers that's on TV. I can't think of all their names. Joyce Myers and all of them, right? So, just in a comparison, that's what the Lord is saying here. You know, you have to watch out the leaven, okay? You have to watch out for the doctrine, and you can't hold on to the doctrine after you leave it, okay? So let's go over to Mark again, and let's look at 8. I think I got 8, Mark 8 and 15. Salakia for me turning these pages. I didn't mark them today. Let's go to 8 and, what did I say? 8 and 15. Okay. I'll start at 14 since that's a new paragraph. Now the disciples had forgotten to take bread, neither had they in the ship with them more than 1 loaf. And he charged them, saying, take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the leaven of Herod. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have no bread. So they thought he was talking about physical bread, but the point is watching out for these people who's supposed to be your teacher, okay, when you're in Roman Catholicism and church, as they call it, okay? And you can go back and read the whole chapter, okay? That's Mark 8, okay? In which, let's go to Luke 1. tell you, there's a heavy spirit on me, man, to do this. And, you know, I tussled with it because I wasn't sure. No, I was wrong. Salakia, I meant 12. 12 and 1. And it just bothered me so much. Okay. Let's see if I got this right. Yeah. Okay. Luke 12 and 1. In the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they tried one upon another, now that's a lot of folks, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Okay? Okay? Verse 2, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Okay? Another dynamite chapter. Okay? Well, of course, we know the word is just filled with life. But, you know, this is another chapter where, I mean, you can really see the humanity of our Savior. And you can feel what he's saying as you read the scriptures. Okay? And then... you know, so that's out of the gospel. Now what you have is some tricky behind people who try to say, well, that was before he died, you know, and rose again. So that's why he was speaking that way. You know, everybody thinks that they're smart ass. So sometimes you have to crush them with what they think they know. Okay, let me go to, and I hate to say it that way, but man, it is what it is. Shit, you freaking people are stupid, man. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 5. What did the Apostle Paul say? Since most of our people, okay, since Jake is mostly go to a church that's a Pauline letter church, okay, they swear by Paul, okay, more than they even read the Gospels, okay. Let's look at 5. Let's see what Paul says. Okay, 5 and what do I have? 5 to 5 and 8. Okay, chapter 5, verse 5. To deliver such a one unto Satan for the destruction of the flesh, that the spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord Yahushua. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole loaf? Verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even, it says, Christ, Hamashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. That kicked them right in the fucking nuts with that one. You hear me? Salaki. See, but when you start bashing them with this shit, you know, not in a bad way, but to tell them, hey man, you know, you going off your philosophy, you still holding on to that stuff that they taught you in the church, okay? And you can't see this. The scales are not falling from your eyes, man, because you're being hard-headed and you're being freaking stubborn, okay? And you bucking up against the word of the Most High, you know, just for your own freaking sake, you know. Let me go to the last scripture. Man, I'm on so much. I'm sorry, Salaki. I did not mean to run this long. Let's go to the last scripture. I got Galatians 5, 8 through 9. Okay, let's go there. Okay, and this is, you know, again, Paul. Okay. Since we love Paul so much, right? Let's go here. I'm gonna start at verse 6. For in Yahushua Hamashiach neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which worketh by love. Ye did run well. Who did hinder you that ye should not obey the truth? That's a question. This persuasion cometh not of him that called you. or calleth you. Verse 9, a little leaven leaveneth the whole loaf. There it is. Okay, that's going to end the lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying to somebody who watches this. I'm a basic teacher, man. I like to get the basics down and build that new foundation. Count the cost. You're going to lose some friends along the way. You're going to lose some family members, and they may be your mother. They may be your father. They may be your brother or sister. Okay, count the cost. Know that that's what's going to happen. Okay, because they can't leave the philosophies and the doctrines alone out of the churches. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end the lesson. All right, call halal Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakar Kadash. Peace to the hopeful elect of Israel, and I'll see you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Shalom.